You're looking to move to Utah. Let me help you by giving you 5 of the biggest mistakes that homebuyers make when moving to Utah, especially southern Utah. Mistake number 1, location. Home buyers looking to relocate are not spending enough time in the location that they're wanting to buy. So they go to an area, they drive around, they feel like they like the area, and then they make an offer and they buy the house. The mistake is not doing enough recon and actually looking at the area and not learning about the location, about what type of schools are there, when the traffic is heavy, when it's light, what type of neighbors they have. Is it a busy neighborhood? Is it a older neighborhood? So really doing recon and finding the best location that suits your needs. So if you're looking for an area that is more peaceful, and you go into a neighborhood and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it seems like it's super peaceful, there's not very many people there, make sure you go back at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or something like that, where you can tell if the neighborhood is really peaceful or if all of the kids are at school and the parents are doing something and it really doesn't pick up until everyone gets home from work and school. Tip number 2, when you're building a house or buying a house, make sure you understand and know exactly what's going to be built around you. For example, you can build a beautiful home and then next to it you see that they are going to eminent domain and widen a road and make it a main road. So you may think that you are off the beaten path, but make sure you look at the planning department and find out what the city has planned in future developments and with roads. If you don't want to be by a main road or a busy road, then make sure that you check out the development. All right guys, mistake number 3 is tax assessment. When you buy a home in southern Utah, your home is automatically assessed as a second home, which means, or non-primary, which means that it's not your primary residence. So that assessment actually costs you 45% more in taxes. So by the end of the year, you're going to be paying more in taxes, unless when you buy the home, the county will send you papers to fill out to mark if it's a primary or non-primary. A lot of people don't do it or they forget to do it, and then they go to the end of the year and they have this assessment that's much higher than what they need to pay. So watch out for that. Quick tip, if you're out of state, make sure you get a driver's license in Utah and it has the address that you just bought on your license, so that when you go and mark that, the county does check the driver's license to make sure that that address matches the address on your primary residence. So to make sure that you actually do that, it will save you 45% in property taxes a year. 4th mistake people make when buying houses in southern Utah is weather. Sometimes when you buy a home, it may be super calm and quiet while you're there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 in the morning, but around 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, patterns, wind changes, and you may live in a dust bowl. So another mistake people make is not coming back at different times to see how the weather is. Also asking questions like, what are the things that people like? What are that they don't like? How is the weather? Watching the weather. If you're just getting started, it's great to get on and actually go to theweather.com and check out how the wind level is. If you don't care and you don't mind that it's a little bit windy, then there's great places and beautiful places to live. If you don't want wind or you want less wind, then there's other areas that you'll want to take a look at. But these are factors that a lot of people don't think about, and then they move there and they are totally blown away, literally blown away, because they don't realize that that area they chose might be a little bit more windy than others. Another thing to think about is it's not just the wind. There are certain areas that do get snow in southern Utah, other areas that doesn't get as much snow, or it's very, very rare that we see snow. Like for example, St. George, we're not going to see snow very much. But if you're out in Apple Valley where I am right now, there's a good chance you're going to run into some snow. So understand and know the weather in the area that you're looking to buy. Mistake number 5 is calling the listing agent and working with the listing agent rather than doing a little bit of work beforehand and interviewing agents and getting a buyer's agent, someone that knows the area, knows what you're looking for, and has your best interest in mind. A lot of times when you call off of the sign and you get the listing agent, that agent is going to be very much interested in representing his seller, which means he can't do his fiduciary duty to you and to them. Someone is not going to be taken care of equitably, and chances are it's going to be the buyer. One of the things that you'll notice, I think, when doing that is that the buyer's agent will have your best interest in mind, and they will help you navigate through some of the things that you may not know and a seller's agent or the listing agent may not bring up. Not that he's doing it intentionally, but his duty is to the seller in selling that property. It is legal in the state of Utah to do what's called a limited agency, or to represent both the buyer and the seller. But the problem with that is that you're not able to equitably represent both parties. Someone is going to suffer, and usually that person that suffers is the buyer. Another thing to think about when using a listing agent to buy a home, a lot of buyers think, well, I'm going to be able to, since the agent that's listing it is helping me buy it, I'm going to be able to save 2%, 3%, whatever the percentage may be, because I'm not bringing an agent. That's not necessarily true. Typically what will happen is the seller's agent will, if you're coming in and they're going to represent both sides, they may still charge the same amount of commission and not help you save a dime. The other thing that could happen is if the listing agent is doing his fiduciary, he's going to get as much money out of the buyer as possible, which is you, and that 3% he may save and pass on to his client, the seller. So it doesn't always guarantee that you're going to get a better deal just because you're going with the listing agent. Matter of fact, a lot of times you get a worse deal because you don't get represented properly. If you're buying a home that they're the listing agent on, chances are you're not going to get as good a deal as if you brought an outside agent to represent you. That outside agent might be able to negotiate a better price for you or better terms or whatever your wants and needs are. They're going to represent you much better than if you work with the listing agent who has the seller's interest. So just understand and know that if you call off the sign and you want to work with the listing agent, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get represented better. Alrighty, those are the 5 biggest mistakes when moving to Utah. Thanks again for watching this video, and if you thought it was insightful and you'd like to see more content, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know you like it. Also, comment in the comments below if you have any questions or if you don't agree with what I have to say. Okay guys, I know I said 5 mistakes that buyers make when moving to Utah, but I have one more mistake, or one more tip to help you navigate when purchasing a home in southern Utah. And that tip is, if you go and you're buying from someone that is a builder or new construction, a lot of times they have a preferred lender. Now, they may not sell you the property if you don't get a pre-approval from that lender. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to use that lender in order to buy with them. So always, always, always get another good faith estimate from another mortgage company in town, or 2, and your agent that is representing you will have good mortgage companies that they can recommend when doing that.